From the shadows, she appears. Jennylyn show, illuminates and tells me all yearn to know. With beats that pulse and sense that ignite, taking us to new heights.
Well, hello, Heather.
Hello.
It's been a while.
Yes, I missed you.
You were watching Conversations with Jennylyn, and I was absent for a while. I took a much needed break from a lot of things in my life, but all good things must come to an end. And tonight I'm back at work, and my guest is one of my regular guests, or one of your favorites, because I've gotten lots of messages asking, when are you bringing Heather on again? And so tonight, here she is. And there's so much going on in the world that we cannot pack all of it into 1 hour. So we will try to get as much as we can covered. Heather has been receiving a lot of messages from her guides, and I will hand this interview over to her at this point, and she can tell us what has been the overwhelming message for the world from her guides. Heather, welcome back.
Thank you so much. It's so good to be back. I'm very excited to share. I've been channeling. I channel a group of cosmic beings that are here to help us on our human journey. And primarily what I channel is soul contracts, life blueprints, why you're here, the reasons for your traumas and experiences. Recently, my guides have been bringing me people with health issues and even cosmic things. So one of the main topics that I've been channeling the last 4 or 5 years is the collapse of the 4 pillars and the glue that holds it together, which we've done videos on. And recently they've been sharing messages about helping us stay grounded and sane during the chaos. There's a lot of chaos going on around the planet. And personally, I stay out of a lot of that. I don't know a lot of what's going on because they keep telling me to share with everyone else to stay disconnected. And so they want to share a little bit about why that guidance is. So if you look around, you can see there's a lot of chaos going on. There's a lot of disclosure happening. There's a lot of, the Nickelodeon kids are coming out talking about what really happened back in the day. There's a lot of celebrities starting to share about their experiences in Hollywood. There's all kinds of people starting to come forward, whistleblowers, etc. And this is causing some fear, some panic. There's obviously also wars going on. I've also been hearing about, I haven't seen a lot of stuff on this because I try to stay out of this, but potentially people being drafted for some more wars. And so there's a lot of kind of panic going on. And what my guides have shared is several things. They continue to tell people to stay out of the narrative, to stay discerning about what they want to be involved in, what they want to become, what we want to become our truth. For many reasons, we create our reality based on what we envision, combined with our emotions and our belief systems. I clear my throat when I'm channeling, and I'm channeling right now. And so because the powers that were at the top of the globe know that we create this reality through what we envision, combined with our beliefs and our emotions, they are putting all of this stuff out there to get us to be in fear about it, be scared, envision the mayhem, envision the potential trauma and chaos. And that alone is what creates these potential timelines. So what they say is to stay out of all of it. There's no need to watch the news. The news and the media and Hollywood was created to hijack our belief systems, hijack our emotions, hijack our mind. The matrix is really here in our mind. And so anything that you see out there on any of those areas, it's all orchestrated to get us to create it through envisioning what they want us to create. So when they talk about how, I actually have a lot of clients that recently have been messaging me saying that they're scared about food being scarce. They're scared about a lot of things that they're hearing about that could happen. And every single time my guides say, turn it off, disconnect, because your very thoughts and beliefs and emotions will create that. Now, there's many different timelines going on, meaning there's a lot of different, some people are living their life completely disconnected from all that, and it's not impacting them at all. They have clean food, clean water, they're living a life of total joy. And those are the people that are disconnected and have turned all of it off. They maybe don't have TV at all. They have created a life that they want, that brings them joy. So that would be an example of someone who's living a different timeline. So it depends on how you want your reality to look. What do you want your life to look like? Do we want that mayhem? Do we want that chaos? If you don't, then turn it off and create the reality that you want. Just understand that the more you get involved and the more you watch things on social media or the news, the media, Hollywood, that's why they put Hollywood movies about war and things that bring us fear, because the more we envision it, the more we support their agenda. So this is all what they're saying, is that they're pulling out all of the stops right now. Two things they're saying: to hijack us, like I've already explained, to cause us to create this ourselves. They don't have the ability to create. They have the ability to put in our faces what they want us to create, but it's up to us whether or not we create it based on continuing to watch it and believing and having emotion and lower vibrational emotions around it. But also what's happening here is a lot of these things are being pushed out there and allowed to be out there by the light, by people who have some power, people who could take these things off the news, who have the ability to keep us from hearing or seeing some of this stuff that's being orchestrated to hijack us. But they're allowing this to play out to push more people awake, because if more people can wake up to the fact that we are being pit against each other, we are being pit country over country, person to person, skin color against skin color, gender against gender, sexual orientation against sexual orientation. If we can start waking up and realize that we're not the problem, it's the people at the top of this global pyramid that's causing fighting, that's causing us to hate each other, and we can say no more, then we can stop the madness. So the light, the people who have power to make change, we are the ones that are going to make the change through our collective envisioning. But they're allowing these things to play out so that we will wake up, just like what happened in 2020. I woke up in 2020. Many people woke up in 2020 because that push for control and fear and separation and division, many people said, no more, I'm drawing a line, I'm not going to live this way. And so the light, again, is allowing more of these things to play out for more people to wake up just like that.
So one of the things that I struggle with, like I work in a place with a lot of people, and I try to avoid certain conversations with them. But there are a few of them that really come to me to hear what I have learned, because they trust what I'm telling them. I think they've gone and vetted what I've shared. But here's the thing that I struggle with. And these two words have become like my Hail Marys almost. Cognitive dissonance. You cannot get people to even be open to go investigate what you're saying. They are glued to mainstream media. There's some big events that have occurred, and it's just like matrixed over a lot of people's heads. I was having a conversation with someone yesterday that I thought would be more informed. We were talking about Julian Assange being released. I haven't seen it in the mainstream media. I think maybe one or two places covered it, but I don't. Well, first of all, I don't watch mainstream. I have not watched any of the mainstream channels in almost 2 years. But I've asked people who watch regularly, and they didn't know what I was talking about. I was shocked. They don't even know who Julian Assange is. And I'm like, guys, come on, you know? And so what they are hearing is the negative things. And this is what everybody is freaking out about. We're not going to have food. They're burning the bridges. They're stopping the farmers from using water because they're trying to sabotage agricultural production. When you hear all of these things, I understand why your guides are saying, because what's happening is people aren't probably sure where to get information anymore. There's so much information out there. You know, you're on TikTok on a regular basis, and it's very difficult to decipher from all the information coming at you which is the truth. You just have to go research it. It's the only way you really find out. And what I've been finding out is the people who are bringing the news are getting banned left, right, and center. Anytime they ban someone, it makes me really sad because I know that's a credible source of information being taken from us again. And the reason why they're taking them away is because they are telling us exactly what the powers that be don't want us to know, because that's what we need to know to wake up. And so what's left is sometimes, you know, I'm not sure if it's even where it's like a lot of psychic people doing readings and nonsense because the news is getting taken away. And so we're really in a weird place. I think the powers that be, as most people call them, but you and I know the powers that were, because they're definitely collapsing. I see it. Julian coming out of jail after all these years is huge, you know? So I feel, and I know that Tucker is going to interview Julian. People, if you don't know who Julian Assange is, please go look it up and make sure you watch his interview with Tucker. Because some people think he's our enemy, and he's actually really our friend because he was fighting for us. And what he did was to help us. So he's not my enemy. I actually am grateful to him. But Heather, your guides have been giving you similar messages to someone I know that I follow named Mel. And I know you know Mel because I often comment on her stuff and I see you like them. So I'm like, it's really weird how you and I do not talk about the content producers that we follow, but we're really following all of the same people. And I really believe that is divine guidance. Our guides and our angels are guiding us where we need to go to get what we need to know, to do what we have to do. And I do that unapologetically. So for those people who want to judge my life, have at it. I'm not here to please people. I'm here to complete my divine mission. So Heather, what have your guides said about, they said not to allow themselves to become fearful, so avoid fear mongering. But when you look at what's really happening, how do you separate fear from reality for people who are only getting bits and pieces? And one last thing before I hand this back over to you. In addition to getting pulled down, the real content producers on TikTok, where I get most of my news, that are credible, because I've been following them for years and vetted them. And if they say something, I believe it because I know it's well researched. And oftentimes they have the evidence to support what they're saying. Even when they are reporting something, they can't use certain words. One of them that I really like was talking this morning about volcanoes and something that was, I think I sent it to you, something that was the L that was found in the volcano. And I'm getting dressed because I have to go. And I'm like, L, what is L? What is L? And I didn't want to go into the group chat and go, I mean, the comment section to go, I'm sorry, guys, I'm lost with this one. What is the L word? What is the L supposed to be that is often found, that they found in certain states? I think you know what I'm talking about. So I'm someone that will never stop until I get the answer. I'm like so determined, and I think I found out what it is now. I know what he was saying. But my whole point for raising this is I would say I'm very tuned in. I've been doing the work. I've been doing my research, following everyone. I spend a lot of time alone, specifically so that I could commit myself to what I'm being called to do. Because you can't be running around and doing crazy stuff, because the minute you don't come on and look and log on to the news for 5 minutes, it's like you miss a lifetime because so much is happening so fast. And what I find is every time I log on and I look, there's something else that's coming out that's curling my hair. But a lot of times I don't get the gist of it because they can't use the appropriate words to describe what they're talking about to prevent the content from getting pulled down and from being banned. And if you ask me, I think TikTok sold out, even though everyone fought so hard for them. What are you guys saying about how do people learn what is happening but avoid the fear? How do you separate the two?
Well, first of all, this topic is worthy of hours, right? So
I know.
let me start out. They've said this a few times tonight, and they've had me start clarifying this. Who I'm channeling is I'm channeling a group of cosmic beings. I call them my guides for the sake of making things simple. But recently, the Arcturians have started coming in, and they want to be part of these messages. And so, in answer, there's a whole bunch to unpack with what you just said. But in answer to your last question, how do we stay up to date on what's going on but stay out of the fear? They're saying again, why do we need to know what's going on? We really don't need to know what's going on, quote unquote, because a lot of that stuff is not real. It's orchestrated. It's not real. It's pretend. It's lies. And we are kind of in a play. It would be like watching a movie and believing, all right, I'll just say it. It's like watching the movie that Tom Hanks is in and loving Tom Hanks and thinking he's the most clean, loving, appropriate person and not realizing who he really is. So, it's like, when you do the research and you realize what's really going on with certain people, with certain things, it will completely change your mindset of what's going on. So if they're saying, be careful when you watch certain things, be careful, like I'll just say it also, they're bringing up Oprah, people, so many people.
I was going to say Oprah. I was just going to say that.
Millions of people adored Oprah. I think it's starting to become more clear. I have always known there's something dark. And then I channeled her a couple of times in the last year. It's the same thing. They put in our face what they want us to believe. And I said this in a lot of other interviews we've done together, is that these people are faces of agendas. They sign contracts to rise to fame and fortune and are given fame and fortune over other people because they agree to be faces of agendas and do nefarious things. So when you're watching someone like Oprah on TV and believing that she's good, and then you create belief systems around that, and then you get into arguments with someone who doesn't believe that, you have to understand that you are now creating emotions and even arguments based on falsities. They're saying the same thing applies to what's going on in the news. So we have to understand that many of the things that you've even brought up, right? Many of the things that are coming up right now, sometimes there's a fraction of the truth in the middle, but they create a story around it in order to hijack our emotions. So in answer to the question of, they're saying right now, how do we continue to see what's going on but stay out of the fear? They're saying, first of all, we don't need, what's the point of knowing? What's the point of knowing these things? When you start to do the research and go down the rabbit hole and you realize that so much of what we've been taught is not real, it's lies, like lots of events, like, we'll just say it, 9/11, the wars, the reason why we're told that there's wars and why for 100 years we've been sending our children and young people to wars. It's not real. They are lying. So the same thing, if you know that that's true when you do your own research, the same is to be applied with current things that are going on. So what they say is, if you feel the need to watch something, they're saying right now, the news and the media is all orchestrated. But if you feel the need to watch something on a social media platform where someone is giving real telling the truth about what's going on somewhere, if you feel yourself getting into a lower vibrational feeling of fear or anger or resentment or any of that, then that's your higher self telling you it's time to turn it off. And until we can be in a place where we can be just observing as if you were watching a play and being disconnected, until we can be an observing place, then it's not for us to take in. Because what it does is we are basing our beliefs and our emotions off of something that's being a story that's being created for us that's not even real. So they're taking it one step forward or higher and saying, there's several things that they're trying to push through. One step higher, connect to your higher self and say, what do I need to know? What would be important for me to know? For instance, Say there's some fear around, maybe you've watched on social media, the fear around creating food scarcity or water scarcity, or whatever the fear is that you really believe could impact you. Instead of getting to fear and starting to hoard and going out and hoarding toilet paper like they did in 2020, right? They're saying, connect to your higher self and say, what do I need to know in order to be safe and live a life of joy? And your higher self will tell you what you need to know, but there's no reason to know anything else. Your higher self has a vantage point, a viewpoint. They can see the entire end to end of everything, but they know your blueprint. They know what you're here to do, and they can see all of what's really going on, okay, from a high level point. Ask your higher self to tell you what you need to know. But as far as generally, they're saying, why do we need to know it? Now, there's people like you that feel drawn to those things because you have one of your things that you're here to do is to put truth out and kind of be a journalist for truth, right? So they're saying some people are drawn to this information because they're meant to be in that space. But even for people like you, when you start to feel the anger or the fear, then that's when you know they're starting to hijack your beliefs, hijack your emotions. And so that's when it's important to get into a neutral place. So if you're going to watch anything, watch it from an observation standpoint and ask your higher self, what of this is for me? Instead of taking it all as fact. Because again, like the Oprah example, it's like it's basing your emotions and your belief systems and treating people a certain way based on a belief system that you created from something that's not real. They're saying that's why there's cognitive dissonance. That's why cognitive dissonance is so strong. It's a protection mechanism, because when people wake up and they realize that so many things that we were told didn't happen or aren't real or were created in order to hijack us or take from us, it creates a lot of fear, and it makes you go back over your whole life and say, well, what's real? Is my childhood even real? Is anything that happened even real? That creates so much discord. That creates so much trauma and fear. So cognitive dissonance is a mechanism that we have to protect ourselves. So they're saying that. And then the next thing that they're saying is that, and they say this all the time, this came in again today and yesterday with my clients, comes in all the time for my clients. It's not our job to wake people up. And they've been elaborating on this. It's our job to teach people how to live based on our own actions. So living from a place of love, not projecting our lower vibrational emotions on someone else, identifying where that's coming from, healing that.
Can I interrupt for a second, Heather?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Here's where I was coming from. They're saying don't pay attention to it. But if you don't pay attention, we have an election coming up. If you're just watching mainstream media, and this is what we've done throughout lifetimes, we've perpetuated the same situations because, number one, let's back up. Historically, we were not privy to anything other than what we saw in mainstream. So all of our decisions were based on what they were telling us, and we were split down the middle. And we already know. Why is it? Okay, a good example of this is, why are the only two candidates to run this country? Two people, sorry, that I call geriatrics because of their age and just their behavior, okay? You have to call a spade a spade. If we are not paying attention, if we're just living and living in bliss and keeping ourselves like immune to protect ourselves because we don't want to get confused and depressed and all that, how are we going to create change in the world? Okay, yeah. Number one, and you're right. My job is a hard job because you bring the messages, but I've been tasked with becoming a journalist that is supposed to tell the hard stuff. And to tell you the truth, one of the reasons I've taken such a long break from it, I'm like, do I really want to do this? Because people think, people who can't resonate with what you're saying, they have all sorts of unkind things to say about you, and that doesn't bother me. I'm comfortable in my skin. I don't care what anybody says. But to me, if everyone just goes ahead and not do any kind of homework and not do any kind of research, then what we're going to do is continue to perpetuate. And then you and I have done shows where we've told people that these systems are collapsing. Okay? So we haven't seen the collapse, but we are getting glimpses of it. And I don't watch mainstream. What I am saying now is what I'm gathering from people I've had conversations with who watch mainstream, right? So everybody knows the whole story with Didi, and we've heard the whole story with Oprah. People are telling me, oh, that's not true. I seen Oprah. And you say, oh, well, that's not Oprah. You're seeing a clone. Then they look at me like you're a nut job. What the hell clone are you talking about? So you understand, this is what I was trying to focus this interview on. It's not scaring anybody, but we cannot continue to live in the ignorance and the misinformation that we've lived in for years, only because when these systems do collapse, and a lot of them are in the process of collapsing, we will be affected in one way or another. And that's where I'm coming from. Because I agree, we can't sit there and get depressed and get scared and start hoarding food. We can't do that, and we can't drive that kind of panic. Although some people are really pushing hard for it, but I just scroll past them when I do my research. But the truth is, I still see people every day joking about Biden, joking about Trump, and I'm watching them going, oh my God, when are they going to get? These are wings of the same bird. I mean, and because to me, it's important that people really see that, so that when the elections come around, we don't end up with more of the same. And we work really hard, and we watch all of our money going to buy a Bugatti for the wife of the Ukrainian president. And it's out there. I watched it, I read it. And most Americans cannot afford to buy food and go to see a doctor if they're not feeling well. That's where this interview is coming. That's where I am trying to come from tonight with this segment.
Yeah. So what they're saying is that, again, it's not our job to wake people up. It's our job to share our, it's your job to share the information that you want to share. It's my job just to share what I'm channeling. What people do with that information is up to them. It's up to each individual person to awaken on their own time. So what's hard is for people like you or me, or people who see through some of the illusion. It can be tough when we don't see our loved ones seeing it, but they're saying that's the rub, right? That's the challenge, is not letting that impact how we feel, not letting that impact our emotions, not letting that bring us down. So it's not our job to change people. It's our job to put the information out and then withdraw and live your life. Put the information out, withdraw, live your life, and live by example. But what they're saying with the political system, again, I'm going to be careful with some of the stuff I say here, but it's not real. It's a fake system. There are more people running for president than those two people. Why aren't they being talked about? Why aren't they? Because the people who are in charge of countries, quote unquote, report up to other people. And some of these people, depending on where they are at with their understanding of how this global pyramid really works, we'll just talk about presidents, they're saying. Some presidents know more than others, because some of them are more involved in the system than others. But so they don't realize that some of these mandates that are coming down, some of these things that are coming down for them to do or promise in their campaigns, it's from a global pyramid. And like you said, it's the same, it's two wings of the same bird. So what they're saying is, when you vote, I'm not going to go into deep with this, but when you go and vote, what you're doing is you're saying, I'm giving my power to make decisions to someone else. And when you go and vote for someone, red or blue, that's the illusion of choice, by the way. There's only two options. Neither option is supportive. If you look back over the last just 100 years, does it matter who's blue? Doesn't matter if red or blue is in charge. Is there still homeless? Are there still people with mental health? Are there still people barely able to pay their bills? It doesn't matter what side you vote for, because the whole system is set up to keep us all imprisoned. So when you go and you vote, what you're doing is, for either side, you're saying, I'm giving my autonomy and my ability to make a decision for myself to someone else. So that being said, again, it's up to us to understand that these systems are false systems. They're put in place to make us believe we have to participate in them. It gives us this false sense of freedom, the false sense of choice, when it's just an illusion created to make us offload our power to someone else. And again, they're saying this is all an act, it's all a play. people who aren't involved in the voting system, people who are living on a farm somewhere and don't have any television, don't have anything, those people are disconnected from the matrix and they're living their life just fine. It's when we get sucked into the illusion that these things are real that we start to struggle. And it's also when we are frustrated that other people can't see through the illusion that we get frustrated, right? So it's not a real system. And they're saying that they're addressing your comments about if we're not aware, these things will continue. And they're saying that's not exactly right. How these beings present it is waking up. When you go through an awakening of what's really going on in the world, you go down rabbit holes and do your research. You have to go through like the stages of grief, basically. Like, oh, my reality is not what I thought. Once you get past that and you understand that we create our reality, then that's when you have a choice to say, I'm going to believe in this or not. I'm going to give my power away or not. We create this reality. So it's not about who's in the president's chair. It's not about who's in charge. It's about people waking up and realizing this is about community. This is about supporting each other and saying, all right, these systems don't work anymore. We're going to come together and create our own systems. Because again, when we give our power to some man in a chair to dictate what we're able to do in our life, we're going to continue to see things the way it goes. It doesn't matter who's in charge. It doesn't matter if even one of the people that they aren't advertising is in charge. We have to come together as community and connect with each other and start creating these systems. That's what's going to create change. Nobody in charge is going to create change. And this is why they're going back to what they said in the beginning of there are people and beings that are allowing these things to be pushed in our faces. So the things that you're frustrated about are happening and being allowed to happen on purpose to push people awake to the point where they say, it doesn't matter who's in charge. I can see now that nobody has our best interests in mind. And until we take control of this and our life for ourselves, this will continue to happen. So it's not about who's in charge. It's about coming together and creating the life that you want, despite what they're doing above, despite what they're doing from the presidency up. Because when we take our power back and we start creating the systems that we want, and we come together as community and we stop pointing fingers at each other, which is what they're telling us to do. So we're not looking above to see what's really going on. When we hate each other, we fight each other because we have different belief systems. Instead, if we come together, that's what's going to make change. It's coming together in love and letting those old systems dismantle, and we create the new system. So we can't give our power away anymore to any of these people because none of them are going to change the system. All it's going to do is push people awake more to say, this is enough. We have a tyrannical government, no matter which way you look at it. And it doesn't matter who's in charge. We're still sending money away. There's children still being missing all the time. There's still these horrible things going on in the world. If you look back, it doesn't matter if it's red or blue. These things are still happening. So we have to let that scab fall off while the new is created underneath, if that makes sense.
I completely hear everything you're saying, but my point that I am hoping they can give me an answer to, my question still is, I heard what you said, and that's the end goal. That's what I'm wishing for. But if the majority of people continue to sit every day and watch mainstream media, that last part of what you just said, that you just channeled, is not going to happen, because people don't change when they don't see a need for change. And the way this is happening right now and has happened throughout my lifetime, I can't speak for yours, is people wake up and that screen on the wall that's bringing information to them is bringing manipulative information designed to manipulate and control, which results in all that we've lived throughout our lives. And the reason that people are getting censored on TikTok, that are telling us the truth that will help us on the path to change, not to scare us, but to bring the truth about what's really going on in the world, that those who choose to hear can change, is being silenced. And everywhere you turn, the people, the powers that have controlled the media and information, are still doing it. because the one platform where people had a little bit more leverage to share truth are being silenced and what is going to be shut down. So this is what I'm asking the guides. When are people going to get information so they can decide if they want to change or not? That's what I'm asking, because right now, the powers that were, you still have to call them B, because they're running all the information that's circulating in the world. They're still doing that. And I feel like they still have quite a bit of power. Because, for example, those that we've been told that are fallen, we're still seeing them carrying on their lives. I find that very confusing. For
Well-
example, Princess Kate, so many truthers like you who bring messages through have said she's not with us anymore. And yet she appeared the other day in the rest of the world, and I've said, well, most of my channelers that I trust and guides have said she's not with us anymore. And they're like, well, we still have something over there. So you see, if you don't have, and it doesn't matter to people if Kate is here or not, but what I'm trying to say is people cannot accept that humans are being taken and replaced by clones, and the clones are very good copies of the people that that have been cloned, and so people are totally unaware that this exists. I cannot tell you how many people I've had conversations with about this, and they look at me like, okay, Jenny, we need to get you institutionalized now. And I just sit there and think, how I wish everybody could see what I see.
Well, several things. What they're saying is they told me to get on TikTok a year and a half ago, and I finally did 9 months later. I didn't know what TikTok was, and I finally listened and got on because the people in my immediate environment that I was talking to about this stuff, there was nobody was getting it. Nobody was awake. They're saying it's not our job to wake everyone up. So it's our job to share the truth. And me getting on TikTok and sharing this stuff, I can't tell you how many people, they're reminding me of somebody who dropped a comment the other day on one of my videos and said, at first I didn't understand what you were saying about the systems collapsing and how they hijack our mindset to create an egregore. Go look up egregore, everyone who's watching this. It's something that can be created in actual matter when enough people envision it. You can literally, that's what they're doing with the news. It's creating egregores that actually come to life. So they said, get on TikTok, and the people that are ready to wake up will find you. And they did. And somebody dropped a comment and said, I haven't really understood. I didn't really understand a lot of your videos, but now it makes sense. I kept watching them and now it makes sense. That one person woke up, right? And I've had a lot of people make comments like that. So me just getting out there and sharing my truth and then turning it off and going for a hike and going for a bike ride and living my life, that now is drip campaigning out, and people do see it. Yes, they censor on everything, but they're saying right now, you don't think we can influence that? They're saying you think this third dimensional people that are controlling that, you don't think we have the ability to work with electricity and electronics? They're like, the thing is, like somebody in China saw one of my videos once on YouTube when I had like two followers. And this group of beings said, we sent that video to her because she needed to have a session so she could get this information, right? So they're saying, again, we shouldn't be putting our trust and faith or lack of in the people, the powers that are censoring. Yes, there's lots of censorship. There always has been censorship, but the reason why you're so frustrated, and the reason why I think I've moved through this for the most part, but you know my story. I lost my job for standing up against this. Right? So against corruption, and that's frustrating when other people don't see it and other people don't stand up. But they're saying, again, we don't need everyone to wake up. There's only a fraction of the population that need to wake up. Right. And the people that are on the verge of awakening, they're going to get the videos. They're going to see it. And they're saying, it's not going to be me that wakes them up. It's not going to be you that wakes them up. We plant the seed, and then the universe brings them something in their own reality that causes them to wake up. They're reminding me of a story, not a story, but one of my closest girlfriends. She and her husband were on the different pages with the jab 4 years ago. She was not for it and he was for it. And she was praying that something would shift She's like, he doesn't listen. He's not getting on the same page. I'm worried about our family. I'm worried about like our relationship. So I channeled for her, and they said, pray and envision what you want in your life. And so she did. And what happened was, he works for his father, And his father put a mandate that everyone needed to get the jab. They started losing people. So in order to help his father save the company, he went on a mission to put together a presentation to share with people why getting the jab was so important, how it's saving lives and everything. Through his own research, he changed his mind. So she didn't do anything. The universe brought him the opportunity to do the research and change his mind on his own. They're saying you have to understand this stuff is happening everywhere. So when you're having conversations with people and you're frustrated because they're not awake, they're saying, watch how much energy it's being sucked from us, right? If it's sucking your energy and it's causing you frustration, get back on your channel, share your truth, and let the right people see it, because not everyone needs to wake up to make change. The people who are on the verge of waking up, or who will wake up from what people like us are sharing, they're going to get the video. What they're saying is anything, they're saying what they've said this before. We live in an era where technology, the way that we're using technology is so supportive for the beings that are helping all of us here on the planet. They're like, they can censor all they want. It takes nothing for them to use energy to send the video to the right person. It's when we think we have to lift everyone up to see, and we're the ones carrying all the weight, that's when it starts to get heavy. So they're saying that's not our job. Our job is to share truth and let them allow the right people to see it. And don't forget that they will orchestrate events in specific people's lives that are ready in order to wake them up. And those people then create a platform. So they're saying it's spreading. And understand, they're saying, going to the Kate Middleton thing, much of what we see on TV is orchestrated. That man is not Biden, by the way.
Of course, I keep saying it's not Biden.
But it doesn't matter if it's Biden or not. What they're saying is so many people who voted blue, because of the cluster that is the man known as Biden, they call him, the man known as Biden, because of the cluster of that, it's pushing people who voted for him to a totally different place. And it's causing the question, like, there are other things in the reality. So they're saying, just know that you're not carrying the world by yourself. I'm not carrying the world by myself. There are so many beings here that are tapping on the shoulders of people, waking them up. You and I woke up recently too, right? Remember 10 years ago, we believed all this stuff. I didn't know. I had no idea. So they're saying
that's true.
Miracles happen every day. Watch when it's sucking your energy. So they're saying, have hope and know that the tides are turning. And a lot of what you see out there is purposely being orchestrated to allow other people to wake up. Just understand that it's actually helping people wake up. They want me to share one more example. When I did the update video about Kate, and I haven't said she's not here, what they've shown me is that person is not the original Kate Middleton, is what they've shown me. And they said that it's a combination of AI, repurposed imagery, and a malfunctioning prosthetic is how they worded it. They're saying that somebody dropped a comment on I got a lot of comments actually in this video around this similar type of comment. But I remember one person specifically who I did a reply to. So there's a video about this comment. She said, "Thank you so much for this. I was doubting my intuition. I was doubting that I was correct. And then this video dropped in my feed. And you've helped me reinforce the trust in my intuition." This is why we do this. This is why we put truth out, because if you can help one person trust their intuition, that has a ripple effect out to hundreds and thousands of people. So just understand things are happening. It doesn't look like we're winning, but they're saying we are winning, and just put your energy into knowing that that's true because it's true. We just can't see it. You're not going to see that happening out there because they're saying that more people need to wake up still for us to tip the scales. And so they have to allow this stuff to happen. They have to allow for the censorship to happen and enrage people and get them to the point where they start to make different changes, and they stop supporting some of these companies. They stop supporting some of these global CEOs. And without this censorship, without the trauma, these people would not wake up. So this is helping to wake some people up. It's frustrating for us, but understand that it's being used as a tool for the light.
So one of the reasons I get frustrated is because I was worried if enough people didn't wake up, then we would not be able to create the change that is necessary. But I'm reassured based on what they're saying and based on the messages I got when Jesus was channeled, that we have help. We have the best help. And we're not talking about guns. So I am just hopeful that pretty soon the changes that are necessary to take back the power from the dark to the light are going to happen. And listen, people, when you watch Heather and I, my suggestion is please go and do your research, because I was one of the people that thought this was all craziness until I started to go down the rabbit hole. And my God, who told me to book my face in there? It was not easy to face what I learned, but I don't have the power to change what is. So I have to accept what is as it is and try my best to play a part in the necessary change. And so I just wanted to thank you all, because can you believe it? We're out of time. For spending this time, Heather, I know that you have a lot going on. And as always, I don't like to wrap until I give you a chance to say what you have in mind that I didn't ask you that you feel is necessary to leave with our viewers.
They do have one more thing. This is kind of cosmic, if you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
So what you just said is so beautiful, and it's true that we have help. We have a lot of help. Actually, I'm going to get emotional thinking about it. I have seen, that's why they're saying we are responsible for monitoring and managing our own emotions. We have to get in control of that, because we can either contribute to the mayhem through lower vibrations, or we contribute to the new world through a higher vibration. So it's up to us to do that. If that means that we set boundaries with people, we leave the job, we leave the partnership, we whittle down our circle, which I did all of that, then that's what we need to do. And that's what shifted me, allowed me to wake up, by the way. But what they want to share, and this is so cool, and I have this on my channel, I have seen several cloaked ships recently. Never in my life have I seen this. In the last month, I have seen 2 different examples of cloaked ships that are Palladians saying, we just want you to know we're here. And then I posted a video. We've had some forest fires here. We've been on the verge of potentially evacuating, and it's heartbreaking. But there is a video that somebody filmed of our forest fires where they zoomed in, and you can see an actual orb ship darting back and forth between the plane, and they said, we want you to know that we're here. So they're here.
Well, Jesus said to me, we don't want you to be alarmed. You're going to see things in the sky that you've never seen before. That is us. We are doing our part.
Just know we have help. They're saying hold the line. They're saying right now, hold the line with love, and again, set boundaries with things that you need to set. When you feel your vibration lowering, set the boundaries, get out in nature, and trust that they're here. They're helping us, but we can only be in charge of ourselves. We are not in charge of anyone else. And the things that need to happen for some of these people to wake up, it might be them seeing a ship in the sky. It might be having someone that you don't want in the president's chair being voted in. These are the exact things that are going to push people awake. So trust, they're saying that it's all being divinely orchestrated, and it's divinely being allowed, and that they are here to assist. And there's more things going on behind the scenes than we could ever know. So you have to trust and envision the life that you want. And that actually gives them more momentum to assist us. So they're here, and they're helping, and we're getting ready for disclosure. I've had several clients who they've asked me about certain situations that have been happening to them, and they said we're preparing them to be mediaries for disclosure. So it's coming. It's I don't know when, but they're here and helping us. So stay high vibe, trust that it's all unfolding the way it should, and do as many things as you can to bring you joy. They're saying.
Thank you for that, Heather. I got so I saw your face turn red when I was speaking. I'm like, am I offending her? I love it, but you know what? Even when some people see those ships in the sky, they have a way to justify it's the government doing research, or it's some AI, whatever. I know what it is. You know what it is. And those people who are supposed to know what it is, we know who and what it is. And I say, yes, I cannot wait. I cannot wait. You know what? When it all happens, I will never tell anybody I told you so. I'll just be so happy that they're waking up to the truth. And so thank you, Heather. Thanks to your guides. Thank you to my guides. I don't want to be in this world without mine. I'm sure you feel the same way. It's so amazing. I just feel so blessed. So thank you again, Heather. And you know what? Like you said, there's so much to cover. As soon as you can, let's do a follow-up, because if you take long breaks, then we lose the momentum. We forgot where we ended. So let me know when we could do another segment. Okay. And thank you so much for watching Conversations with Jennylyn. I was an actress growing up, so you could think I'm being theatrical, but I think Heather's face speaks for itself. So you can't fake those emotions, right? And we
I'm
feel
not an actress. No.
we feel very blessed that we are a part of this big, big, big thing that's going to go down on this planet. I'm getting chills. And thank you again for watching us, and we'll be back soon with another segment. Thank you for watching Conversations with Jennylyn. When a conversation is all you need to get excited for the change that's to come. And we'll see you soon. Thank you.
From the shadows, she appears. Jennylyn Show.